Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. We ain't having no board meeting. April Fool. We're going to begin our meeting with an invocation that will be led by Pastor Leonard Himes, and he will also lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If I could have everyone stand.
Good morning. Our Father, we come to you on this day that you've given us, the first day of a new month. A month, Lord, that our nation seems to be in turmoil and our world as well. Lord, may we realize not only individually, but that peace only comes through grace. So I ask this day that you supply that grace. In this meeting, in the business to be conducted, ongoing processes, Lord, we ask for continuity and that we put you first in our life as principled people. Bless this meeting and all that takes place. And Lord, we'll certainly thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
I'd like to call our meeting to order. So can I get a motion? We need to add executive session to the agenda regarding litigation.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. We're going to have the proclamation for Fair Housing Month. Raven?
I have for you this morning a proclamation recognizing April 2025 as National Fair Housing Month. Whereas each April, the United States recognizes the anniversary of the enactment of Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, more commonly known as the Fair Housing Act. And whereas encouraged by the Civil Rights Movement, the Fair Housing Act established federal law prohibiting discrimination in housing transactions on the basis of race, color, national origin, religion, sex to include sexual orientation and gender identity, familial status, and disability, as amended. And whereas April 4th, 2025 marks the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and April 11th, 2025 marks the 57th anniversary of President Lyndon B. Johnson signing the Civil Rights Act of 1968, amending the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And whereas recognition of Fair Housing Month underscores the importance of the Fair Housing Act and the ongoing commitment to combating discrimination in housing. And whereas the right to housing choice is a critical asset in creating communities that represent a variety of cultures and lived experiences. And whereas the Fair Housing Act continues to build diverse communities by providing equal opportunity to all through education, outreach, and investigating and processing of discrimination complaints. And whereas state and federally funded programs are essential in providing valuable education to individuals and housing providers on recognizing and preventing fair housing violations. And whereas Henry County acknowledges the importance of the work carried out by fair housing organizations such as Metro Fair Housing Services Incorporated and the Georgia Commission on Equal Opportunity, Office of the Governor, in their efforts to address fair housing complaints. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Henry County Board of Commissioners, Chair Carlotta Harrell, Vice Chair Neat Robinson, Commissioners Johnny Wilson, D. Anglin III, Michael Price, and Kevin J. Lewis are committed to protecting the civil right of access to housing and hereby join in the national celebration by proclaiming April 2025 as National Fair Housing Month, and encourages all agencies, institutions, and individuals, public and private, in Henry County, Georgia, to abide by the letter and the spirit of fair housing law. Signed this first day of April 2025.
Thank you.
And-
Is there representatives here from Metro Fair Housing Services and the Office of Equal Opportunity?
Yes, ma'am, they are here.
Okay, so who's here to do pictures?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So we can do pictures with Metro Fair Housing first and
Okay.
then do a separate picture with the Office of Equal Opportunity, or do you want to do them all together?
We could do it all together.
Okay, all right.
That's fine.
Okay. Next, proclamation for Autism Awareness Month. Amber?
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and pillars of the community. I'm honored to present to the public today a proclamation recognizing April 2025 as Autism Awareness Month. Whereas autism spectrum disorder, ASD, is a developmental condition that affects millions of individuals of all ages, races, and backgrounds on the spectrum worldwide. And whereas Autism Awareness Month provides an opportunity to raise awareness about autism, promote inclusion, and celebrate the diverse talents and contributions of individuals on the spectrum. And whereas individuals with autism deserve to be treated with dignity, respect, and understanding as we work to build a more inclusive and connected society that provides equal opportunities for all. And whereas we recognize the importance of early diagnosis, intervention, education, and support services to ensure individuals with autism lead fulfilling and meaningful lives. And whereas communities, organizations, and families continue their collaboration to promote greater understanding, acceptance, and opportunities for those living with autism, and whereas organizations such as Key Autism Services and Our World School provide invaluable resources, therapy, and support to individuals with autism and their families, helping to create a more inclusive and supportive environment. And whereas we encourage individuals and communities to educate themselves about autism and engage in efforts to reduce stigma and increase acceptance for individuals with ASD. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Henry County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of Chair Carlotta Harrell, Vice Chair Neat Robinson, and Commissioners Johnny Wilson, D. Anglin III, Michael Price, Kevin Lewis, does hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Autism Awareness Month and recognizes the outstanding contributions of Key Autism Services and Our World School in their dedication to supporting individuals with autism and their families. We encourage all citizens to increase their understanding of autism, aid in efforts to improve support services, and promote acceptance and inclusion for all individuals with ASD. This first day of April 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. So we can do, or do they want to do separate pictures or pictures together?
Separate.
Okay, all right then. So if we can have the Key Autism Services Group come up first, and we can take a picture with you all, and then our World School will come up after that. Thank you. Okay. Recognition for Lead Communication Officer Savannah. We have our Director of E911, Tamika Kendrick, to come forward. Communication.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. Today I'm here to recognize two of our communications officers. They were deployed as a 7-man team with other dispatchers from around the state of Georgia to Asheville, North Carolina after the storm that wreaked havoc in North Carolina. They were recognized at our 911 conference a couple weeks ago, and they received an award for Team of the Year, so I just want to read about this award. The Georgia Emergency Communications Conference Annual Awards Banquet was recently held March 12, 2025 in Columbus, Georgia, celebrating excellence in emergency communications across the state. This year, we are proud to recognize two of our outstanding communications officers, Lead Communications Officer Savannah Mundy and Communications Officer 2, Caitlin Canup, who are part of a 7-person deployment that was awarded Team of the Year at the conference. As members of the Georgia's Telecommunicator Emergency Response Task Force, also known as Georgia TERT, they deployed to Asheville, North Carolina in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene, providing critical emergency dispatch services for 15 days. Their dedication, resilience, and commitment to public safety exemplify the highest standards of service in emergency communications. We commend them for their exceptional efforts and thank them for representing our agency and our county and our community with such professionalism and integrity.
Thank you. So we can have them to come forward, and board will take a picture with them. Tamika, did you have another?
We do.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. I was- Your name was on the thing, so I was like, well, where did she go?
All right, so at the same awards banquet, each year the president of Georgianina presents the Thomas Wall Legacy Award. This award is named for Tom Wall, who served as the 911 director for Liberty County for 14 years. He was committed to his staff and thought of them as family. He made positive impressions on all those he came in contact with, and he was the type of man that you knew if you called with any issue, big or small, he was going to take it on. He had no problem, I can handle that attitude, coupled with kindness and patience, a triple threat of integrity. When we met people like this, we are amazed. Such kindness, ability, flexibility, because that is who they are naturally, wanting and willing to do whatever needs to be done without a personal agenda or complaint. This award is presented each year to someone in the 911 profession that has shown continuous commitment, professionalism, and dedication to the mission of emergency communications. This person always wants to learn more and do more. This individual has influenced our profession in many ways that will be remembered for years to come. For showing an unceasing spirit of service and willingness to help others, this year's Thomas Wall Legacy Award was presented to our very own Director Tamika Kendrick.
Let's move these chairs here out of the way. And
Move that way, balance.
you need your energy. Okay, where you at? Okay.
It's the anniversary music. I don't think we can see.
We can't see
Yeah,
that.
you gotta see everybody's face.
I just want to say thank you to all of our 911 personnel. We really appreciate what you do every day because the initial call starts with you all. And so we really appreciate all of your hard work and dedication because it can be tough. And so I know that a lot of times you all receive a lot of different calls every day that could be very stressful. So I just want to say we do appreciate what you all do. And congratulations to all of the award recipients. Thank you. Next, we will have employee anniversary recognition. And that will be Holly, our HR director.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, pillars of the community, and County Manager. This morning, Human Resources would like to present the Years of Service Awards. We want to bring this program back, and I've asked Ms. Carrie Sheffield on my team to join me today because she was instrumental in getting this program back on its feet. It's been a few years, so I wanted to ask her here because she helped develop the challenge coins that we're going to give out for the years of service. I want her to get a little kudos too for all the hard work that she put into it, and we brought a set for you guys to be able to see. We're going to recognize 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 30-plus years of service at the first board meeting of the month, and call them up if we could. Let them have photos with you in groups of their years of service. We have no 5-year awards today, and we attributed it to April of 2020. Of the midst of COVID, apparently we didn't hire anybody. So we are going to start today's with the 10-year awards. Some of the employees were able to make it, so when I call your name, if you are here, we ask that you come up. April's 10-year of service award, Gregory Lewis with Magistrate Court, Jeffrey Perkins with the Police Department, and Catherine Blackwell with the Tax Commissioner's Office. For our 15 years of service, Aaron Combs with the Police Department. And I don't believe that Combs was able to make the board meeting, so we'll make sure that they get their award. Oh, I think maybe they're going to go get them. Rebecca Browning with Magistrate Court is celebrating 20 years of service. We would next like to recognize Cindy Johansson with the Police Department for 25 years of service with Henry County. And today, 33 years of service in April, which is an amazing feat, Ms. Kawina Starks with the Tax Assessor's Office, And I'm not sure that she's here today, so we will make sure to get her the award. And that's all of the service awards for today.
Okay, next item is a SPLOST update from Rocky.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and pillars of the community. As Madam Chair mentioned today is April 1st, and it's not Fool's Day, right? So it actually marks a great thing for Henry County, right? As you all know, today is the beginning of the SPLOST 6 collections. Yes. And for the next 6 years, we'll be collecting 1% sales tax for needed capital and transportation projects. Now, this 1% sales tax is not new, right? It's not a new sales tax. It is the continuation of an existing sales tax that, thanks to the residents of Henry County, was voted last November. I also want to thank Melissa Robinson, Nathan Monroe, Wesley Chandler from SPLOST for collaborating for this video that you will see. You will see what we have been doing on the SPLOST 5, T-SPLOST, and what's coming on SPLOST 6. Let's see. Just give us 1 second.
Spring brings so many changes and needed renewal. For Henry County, April 1st kicks off SPLOST 6 collections, which is a continuation of the penny sales tax that has funded millions of dollars worth of necessary transportation and capital projects. Let's take a brief look at some recently completed projects under SPLOST 5. Also under SPLOST 5, the county was able to complete 53 resurfacing road projects that equates to 22 miles of roads totaling $10.5 million worth of investment. We are also working on the McDonough Parkway widening and the Flippin Road extension to facilitate smoother traffic flow. Several SPLOST 5 projects are still under construction, such as a state-of-the-art aquatic center and the soon-to-open Mount Carmel Recreation Center, a modern 2-story recreation center that will serve the community for years to come. Under Henry County's T-SPLOST program, funding is dedicated to 7 major transportation projects, including the McDonough Parkway extension, which is currently in construction, Rock Quarry Road, which is out for bid, and Mill Road widening, going out for bid later this spring. The 4 remaining projects, including Jonesboro Road, Bill Gardner Parkway, Fairview Road, and State Route 81, are in the right-of-way acquisition process. The SPLOST Department has already issued the request for design for 9 major road widenings, 6 intersection improvements, and a brand-new road totaling 20 miles, as well as design of a new animal control facility. This spring, we'll bring 2 resurfacing contracts that will include 185 roads to be resurfaced, a total of 83 miles of roads with an investment of $60 million. We are excited that the SPLOST 6 collections that begin today will allow the county to complete nearly $277 million worth of necessary improvements just in transportation. Thank you to the Henry County voters for approving the 1 penny sales tax to help keep Henry County moving in the right direction.
And that was our presentation. I'll take any questions if the commissioners have any.
Got any questions? Question or comments? Yes.
Well, Rocky, thank you for taking us on the tour. This what, if you notice, everybody was tuned in, so thank you so much, because it means a lot so that everyone can see exactly what we're doing. So thank you and your team.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Chair.
Commissioner Ingram?
No, I just want to say thank you, Rocky, for your hard work. Truly appreciate it. And for the citizens, I always, every time I talk about SPLOST, this is how we get roads and transportation and infrastructure done. It's through SPLOST and T-SPLOST. So please, next time we have T-SPLOST on the ballot, we need your support just for all of us. So thank you.
Commissioner
I'd like to
Price?
say thank you as well for the voters that voted for this, because it also helps to allow some of our visiting partners to help contribute to some of our road and capital projects. So again, to the voters that did vote, thank you so very much.
And Sherry, is there any kind of way that we can get this video on the county website and on our social media page? Because we hear a lot of times, oh, you know, we don't know what they're doing with the SPLOST dollars. And so this is a true example of the investment that by having this in place, it takes the burden off of taxpayers in a sense of us being able to complete road projects, bridge projects, you know, just, you know, everything transportation. We know that Henry County's traffic is not the best, but we're playing catch up and we are getting projects done and completed. The capital projects, you know, especially with our parks and recreation facilities. This is huge, and so I just want to say thank you to the voters for entrusting us and allowing us to be able to bring these projects to fruition. So thank you so much, Rocky and your team. Next item is the consent agenda. If we have our county manager come forward and read the consent agenda.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and pillars of the community. This is your consent agenda for Tuesday, April 1st, 9 a.m. Under capital projects, we have a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding with the Henry County Water Authority regarding the North Mount Carmel Park sewer. Under the county manager, we have a resolution requesting approval of a lease agreement between Henry County, Georgia and the Georgia Department of Driver Services for the Locust Grove Department of Driver Services location. Under financial services, we have a resolution authorizing the disposal of surplus items and equipment. Under parks and recreation, we have a resolution approving the award of bid number 25-44 for the purchase, installation, and maintenance of kid-safe playground mulch annual contract to Preferred Mulch LLC as a unit price with no fixed quantities. We also have a resolution approving the award of bid number 25-46 for the purchase, installation, and maintenance of decorative mulch annual contract to Preferred Mulch LLC as a unit price with no fixed quantities. We also have a resolution approving the award of bid number 25-45 for the purchase, installation, and maintenance of long needle pine straw annual contract to Swift Straw LLC as a unit price with no fixed quantities. And under stormwater, we have a resolution approving the bid award for the drainage improvements at Stokes Drive to DAF Concrete, Inc. in the amount of $154,500 utilizing stormwater enterprise funds, and this subdivision is located in District 2. Madam Chair, this ends the consent agenda.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilson.
Says unit price for no fixed quantities. Is there a cap? There's three resolutions.
JP, can
Mulch
you come
and
forward?
pine straw. Is there a cap on that?
Good day,
On
Madam.
the Parks and Rec, it'd be A, B, and C.
Good day, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Board of Commissioners, pillars of the community. Commissioner Wilson, yes, so if you look at the bid price sheet that's attached, it has what that total amount is for each one of those. I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
But
Just for the public, I just want to make sure that they
Yes.
understand there's a cap on.
yes, so for the Kid Place, Kid Safe Playground mulch, it's $42,400. Yep.
Everybody knows there's a cap. It's not unlimited.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
And JP, can you talk about what that mulch, is that a special type of
It-
mulch for the
It
playground?
is, so that's why it's two different mulch bids. So one is the decorative mulch that you see in like the islands and things like that. The other is specifically engineered for playground safety. You can't just have mulch that has those sharp edges and pointy edges and things like that on the playground because kids could get injured. So there's pre-engineered mulch specifically designed for playgrounds that you put out in those areas.
Any other questions or from the board? Yes, uh-huh.
No, I want to thank the county manager and also Tony Carmel, the general manager for the Henry County Water Authority. So they are running sewer to the new Mount Carmel Recreation Center. So they ran into some issues just with rock. But Tony Carmel came and had an alternative for us to be able to get some temporary sewer so that we could open the rec center on time. So I just want to say thank you to County Manager for orchestrating that and also to Tony Carmel from the Water Authority to make sure we get our park open on time. So thank you.
Awesome, awesome. If there's no other questions from the board, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion. Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Motion carries, thank you. Mhm. Now we move to our regular agenda, capital projects. Ms. Lynn, come on.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, and pillars of the Henry County community. Excuse me. I have before you a resolution awarding RFP 25-34 for on-call architectural design and engineering services to Croft and Associates, Place Services, and Goodwin Mills Kaywood LLC as per their proposed fee schedules. The purchasing department solicited proposals on the websites of the county, Team Georgia Marketplace, and ACCG GLGA. We received 14 proposals. They were reviewed and rated by an evaluation committee, and the top 3 most qualified firms were interviewed and selected. Funding is available in the individual project accounts. This shows our evaluation result of all 14 firms that submitted and their scoring totals. This shows Croft and Associates hourly rates. This is Place Services hourly rates. And this is Goodwin Mills Kaywood LLC hourly rates. So the purpose of this is to have available firms when we put out an RFP, have a project designed. We're going to be using these firms heavily for review of those plans to ensure that everything is included, that our standards are being met. It's just an extra check to make sure that we're getting everything that we need so we don't have change orders and we don't have any ads once it's put out for bid. We will have the option, if need be, if we need to get something designed quickly, we'll have that option as well. And it would go to all 3 firms and the firm that provides the lowest cost to do the service would then be selected, and anything over 100,000 or more would come to the board for approval, and I'll be happy to answer any questions for you.
Okay. Commissioner Wilson? Commissioner Roberts?
No, I just want to say thank you, Lynn. I think that's an excellent way to do business. Make sure that we are prepared and have somebody, it expedites the process with qualified individuals. So in essence, that really cuts down on costs. So I just want to say thank you for doing that.
Commissioner Fox? All right, great. There are no questions from the board. Can I get a motion to approve? Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Lynn. Next is Human Resources.
Come on up. Good timing. Good morning again. Hi. Sure. Good morning again, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board, pillars of the community, County Manager. This morning, we're going to present our employee benefits renewal plan, and this is not James Ford. I have Chris Clark with me. He's going to go over the presentation for us, and any questions we'll be glad to answer. I've got a resolution if that needs to be read into the record after the presentation. He got stuck in traffic, so kind of on the hot spot of just walking straight into this.
Welcome to Henry County.
Okay. All right, well, it's a pleasure to be here this morning. Thank you. Sorry for the dramatic entrance there. But, yeah, Mr. Ford wasn't able to make it. He won an award at our company and got a trip that started today. And so he wasn't able to come today. But we're here to talk about the employee benefits renewal coming up for June the 1st. Your benefit program runs on a year that starts June 1st every year. So this time of year is when we manage the renewal process, look at options, work with the county manager and her team to determine what to bring forward for you to consider. So we have a presentation here today that reflects that. So we currently have United Healthcare as our primary medical carrier, as you know, and a self-insured arrangement that we started about 3 years ago. It's been successful financially for the county. We've saved, or we've had lower increases, and we saved some money when we moved to them 3 years ago. So it's been a pretty good thing. This year, we're projecting the budget for next year for the plan to need to increase by 1%. In healthcare world these days, that's pretty good. I mean, we'd all like it to be 0 or negative, but most people are facing something more like 6, 7, 8%. And we're recommending, or the staff and your broker team is recommending not renewing with Kaiser. So the Kaiser people would move into the United plan, much like you had before, before Kaiser came in a number of years ago. On the dental insurance side, we've had a set rate for a few years, and we have a renewal this year. So while it's a higher than we'd like to see at 13.8%, that works out to about $182,000. That is, you have to remember that's multiple years of a no increase before we got to that. And we did a pretty significant RFP process. We looked at different options, and nobody was able to give us as good a rate as this one with the incumbent, which is Delta Dental. The recommendation from the county manager and staff is that the employees would absorb that increase, and we reflect that at the bottom of the slide here, what that would work out to. It's $2.05 for employee only per pay period, and would be their new cost coming off of 0 currently. And then for employee and family, theirs would be $34.12 per pay period. Regarding other programs on life insurance, that was also up for a renewal this year. The voluntary life, which is the portion that employees pay, that will have no increase. That originally had a 30% increase, and we were able to negotiate that down along with, getting some other bids to help with that leverage to negotiate that down to stay where it was. The basic life and accidental death component did have a significant increase. On a percentage basis at least, it was overall a 75%, which works out to about $80,000 a year. We did a very extensive marketing on that, got bids from about 8 different carriers, and after getting those bids, went back and negotiated that down. It was originally a higher increase than that. But that ended up, the standard life option was the best overall, so we would recommend sticking with that. And then just touching on all the other programs, none of the other ones have any cost change this year. So we would stay with IMED for vision, United Healthcare's division Optum for the employee assistance program. We say Cigna, but that Cigna program was bought by New York Life, so it's really New York Life now on the FMLA, New York Life on the disability programs, and then a company called Lively that was previously called Lane Health will continue as the provider for the health flexible spending, the dependent care flexible spending, HRA and COBRA programs. So just so you know, the next steps after this today would be human resources and risk management team, along with the broker team, would host open enrollment for all employees in a couple weeks. And the changes that we talked about, again, would be effective June 1st, and they would be explained through meetings and other communications during the open enrollment period. And we'll be sending out communications to employees explaining all that in the next week or two. So with that, open it up for questions.
So could you go back to the slide on the dental?
Yes, ma'am.
So currently, Holly, I want to make sure I understand this. So right now, the rate is $29.62.
Yes, ma'am.
So it'll roughly be a $5 increase per pay period
Per month.
for those that have the employee and family.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's what I wanted to see. And then, if you could go forward, let me see what.
Madam Chair, I wanted to make sure the board was clear that that is per month, not per pay period.
Okay, so that is per month, not per
Correct.
pay period?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because it
This is-
says per pay
This
period.
is the per pay period increase, but it's not $34.12 increase. If you have family, you're already paying, so that increase would just be that small difference.
Right, so I'm saying that the current rate is $29.62, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And it will be going to the $34.12, so roughly $5 or so per month, I guess is, or however you take it
I
out.
think it's 5 per pay
Is it
period.
per pay period?
Is it per pay period or per
Yes,
month,
ma'am.
Holly?
Yeah.
It's per pay period.
Okay, so
So
my
about
apologies.
$10 a month.
Okay. And then go forward to, it was, so all of the other stuff stayed the same, no changes pretty much there. With regards to the Kaiser, are you all going to be able to, Holly, how many employees do we have that are on the Kaiser plan?
A little over 300.
Okay, so a little over 300. And they will transition to the United Healthcare plan. Will somebody be able to help them pick the appropriate plan as they make that transition when you all do the open enrollment?
Yes, ma'am, 100%. We have 8 people scheduled to work open enrollment.
Okay.
So we'll have a lot of boots on the ground to be able to answer questions. We also are going to have an online portal for folks who, maybe can't or don't want to come in person. They can. We don't want anybody to go without insurance. So what we've decided is we're going to automatically move all the Kaiser people to the 75% plan in UHC. If they want that, it'll just carry forward. If they don't want that, then they'll need to come to open enrollment. They can choose a different plan, choose to come off the plan if they have other options. But we do have 8 people lined up to work all 4 days of the open enrollment to make sure that we have plenty of time to spend with the Kaiser and United Health customers.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Wilson, did you have any questions?
And Holly, could you recap how the retirees' insurance works? Because when they turn 65, they roll over to Medicare, Medicaid benefits, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they have to be included in this enrollment as well.
So we're having an open enrollment for retirees the week after open enrollment for all employees. We do that virtually and in person, so that's for all pre-65 retirees. They'll have these same options that current employees have, and then the post-65, we've already made sure that they've rolled over to the Medicare side.
Okay, so the ones that you cannot contact, all right, so there's some retirees move out of state. So what does that look like? Do they
We've
automatically?
done really good with tracking them all down. There was 2 that we were having a little issue with, so
Okay.
I'm tapping into those 30-year employees to help me track those down.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Robinson.
Yes, ma'am. So you said 300 employees, correct?
Approximately, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
and how many days you said you're allowing? Did you say 4 days?
We have open enrollment, it's going to be 4 days, and there's an online portal and in person. If somebody happens to be on vacation that whole week, we're going to ask that they contact HR and we'll work something out on a one-on-one basis for those folks.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure that we're going to be accessible to them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, Commissioner Haynes? Okay, Lewis, Price, okay. If there are no other questions, can I get a motion to approve the oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, there is one thing that's not included in the resolution that I want to make sure the board is clear on. In the past, we have put in that employees are required to have biometric screenings at a certain time period, and if they fail to have the biometric screening, then their insurance cost is increased. That is not included in this resolution. And so I want to make sure that the board understands that, and if there's a desire for us to require biometric screening, we just need to add that to this current resolution. So I hate to muddy it, but I wanted to make sure that you all were clear on that.
Okay, Commissioner Wilson.
I do have a question about that. In the past, but we've seen it's very effective, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, and there's a $25 surcharge for those that fail to be involved with that, with the biometric screening. Is that correct?
In the years past, I believe it's been $50.
It was 50.
$50, okay.
So that is certainly something to consider, especially in light of our increased cost to insurance that the board has so graciously carried year over year over year with not passing any of that along to the employees. So that has been a mechanism for us to help to offset some of that increase.
So what's the percentage of the employees that come in for the screening?
We usually get over 85%, I would say, that come in.
That's good.
Okay.
So
Me personally, I think it's important
Yeah.
to include that in a resolution.
Okay.
Because we've been doing it for quite a while.
So is it the pleasure of the board to add the biometric screening to help us on healthcare costs? Yes. Okay. So can you add that to the resolution?
Yes, ma'am, and I will defer to our consultant with a timeline because we won't be able to make that happen before open enrollment in April. But what we did last calendar year is we did it after open enrollment, and then my staff adjusted the rates at that time. So we
Okay.
had a window, so employees are going to need probably, we're going to need more than 2 weeks to get it planned, get it scheduled, get it here, so we can retro it just like we did in the last fiscal year.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, that is the process that we've done. We understand that we are changing carriers, and so we've got to get through the carrier, or at least changing from Kaiser to United. Typically, what we have done is we will allow the employees until after, typically it's September, that you have to have that biometric screening in place, and then HR will go in and start adding that additional surcharge. So we will certainly make sure that we work with the carrier to ensure that the wishes of the board is carried out.
Okay.
It'll be our goal to do it earlier in the calendar year, this year.
Okay. So Stephanie, is it necessary for her to read the resolution into the record, or do we make a motion?
I'm sorry. It's posted online, so I think everyone can pull up the resolution. If you just want to make the one change of adding the biometric screenings, I think you can make that in your motion and not need to read the whole thing, but
Okay. Commissioner
it's
Wilson?
up to the board.
Would you?
Yeah, I'll make the motion
Okay.
to add the biometric screening with the resolution.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Okay, so got a motion and a second. Is there any other further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you so much, Holly, for all you and your team's hard work.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next is SPLOST.
Good morning again. Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chairs, Commissioners, and pillars of the community. We're here for resolution regarding Burk Road. As you know, Burk Road is a SPLOST 5 project, and it was actually approved already for construction. But what we're here is for the utility relocation for Central EMC. Of course, we had to relocate power. That's part of the process to redo this road. And Georgia EMC has facilities, and they have provided an estimated cost of $160,705.67. Funding is available through the project account, and staff recommends the utility relocation.
Okay.
I'll take any
Commissioner
questions.
Wilson, I know this has been
Yeah, this one's been a process.
it's been a whole process for you.
It's been going on a couple of years. Anyway, leave it there. But yeah, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, so got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. If there are no questions, all in favor? Okay, motion
Thank you.
carries. And Lynn,
Good morning again, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, and pillars of the Henry County community. Before you is a resolution approving the purchase of playground equipment and poured rubber surface for the North Mount Carmel Park from Game Time in the amount of $586,935.85. This will be utilizing district impact fees and SPLOST 5 funds. There is a need to replace the existing playground at North Mount Carmel Park. The current playground is nearing end of its life cycle and is positioned in a low area that gets flooded each time it rains. The new playground will be relocated adjacent to the new recreation center. As you're looking at the beautiful new center, it will be on the left-hand side. Game Time has provided a quote in the amount of $586,935.85 to furnish and install the playground equipment and the poured rubber surface. This goes to Park and Rec not having to replace mulch. This poured rubber surface is ADA accessible. It will never have to be, replaced. It will last. We've been adding this to every new playground in the county. It is state-of-the-art, and it will save money in the long term, both labor and materials. We're super excited about this. We're requesting authorization to use District 5 impact fees in the amount of $400,000 and SPLOST 5 funds in the amount of $186,935.85. to purchase the playground and rubber surface utilizing the U.S. Communities contract. And here is a copy of the quote. And here's the best part, the pictures of the beautiful playground that Mr. Penn has designed and picked out. It's going to be absolutely beautiful in our county colors of the blue and the green with some purple added to it. So
Is this handicap accessible?
it is handicap accessible, yes.
It's beautiful.
And I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Any questions from the board?
I can see a fence. Is the fence included in the price?
No, a fence is not included in the price.
Is that something that we'll have to come back later with
Yes.
to approve?
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Wilson, I'm going to ask Mr. Penn to come forward to make sure that is the plan to install fencing at this location.
That's true. We can go back.
So, hello again. Is my mic on? Okay, there we go. Thank you. Right now we're not installing fencing, but later we will. Where it's positioned it's in a pretty good place, but on the front side where there's a parking, we could add a fence there. But as of right now, there isn't any fence slated for that. Technically, we don't have to have fencing there, but we can add it later on.
Okay. I just know a couple of y'all put in District 1 has fence.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No further questions from the board. Commissioner Lewis, this is,
Yes, I just want to thank you once again, just for the investment into the park and just for the public. You know, these are some of the things that we use impact fees for. This is why impact fees are important. When we have development, we should have an investment by the development community into our community because there is an impact. So I just want to say thank you. Great design. It is needed because that playground area gets flooded often. I know it's not the only park in the county to get some flooding in the playground, so there's some other ones we need to address. But just to the community at large, you know, we do hear you, and we are actively trying to improve the quality of life for all of our citizens. So thank you so much.
so I had a question with regards to where the old playground is. So that old playground will be taken down, correct? Mm-hmm. And then what will that space be used for?
As of right now, it would be open space that can be utilized for free play. As you know, that's a soccer complex, so we have 16 soccer fields over there. A lot of times you have practices, training, games going on, so we will leave that open for free play. There's another field behind the playground that they currently use for free play, so they'll just add additional space for individuals to have free play while other practices or games or things like that are going on in that area.
So if it floods on the playground, is it something that you're going to do to prep it to because once you move the playground, it's not going to stop the flooding. So is there going to be some dirt or something?
We're not going to elevate it.
Okay.
If it rains over there, people just won't be able to use that area. But if it's raining out there, typically they're not playing out there anyways with the soccer, playing soccer out there. But we're not going to elevate that area at this time. Potentially down the road, it could be used for additional parking as well because it gets very crowded over there.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is there no further questions from the board?
Move to approve.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
So tax commission, okay, there you go. Tax Commissioner's Office, public hearing.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and Board of Commissioners. I'm Lynn Carty with I'm the Deputy Tax Commissioner. Mr. Benitez is requesting a refund from the board in the amount of $1,683.57 for interest, penalties, and fees he paid on his delinquent property taxes for the 23 and 24 tax year. Mr. Benitez paid his 23 tax bill on his rental property located at 30 Micah Drive on November 9th, 7 days prior to the due date of November 16th. However, the payment was unable to be processed because the checking information that he entered online was incorrect. Therefore, the funds were never received by our office and never deducted from his account. On November 14th of 2023, our online payment processor sent him an email notifying him that the payment was not processed. On November 15th, 2023, our office mailed a letter notifying Mr. Batista that his payment was not processed and that he would need to submit payment. In February of 2024, an intent to FIFE was mailed to him, notifying him that the 2023 tax bill still remained unpaid. Mr. Benitez has been the property owner of 30 Micah Drive for 12 years. Since he has acquired that property, 10 of those 12 years, he has paid the due date. He has paid 10 of those late after the due date, occurring $5,961.88 in interest, penalties, and fees. Interest does accrue monthly at a rate determined by the Department of Revenue, and penalties accrue at a rate of 5% every 120 days after the due date, with a maximum of 20%, which is also determined by the Department of Revenue. Based on the facts of this case, we believe this falls into the category of willful neglect and therefore recommend denial of his request.
Thank you. Is the taxpayer here? Going once, going twice? Okay. So can I get a motion to deny the refund request?
On the denial.
Motion second. If there's no discussion, all in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. County Manager, do you have any comments? And Stephanie, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Good morning again, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the board. I do have a couple of comments. As of you all are aware, yesterday we did have some severe weather here in Henry County, and we actually had 2 tornado warnings that were signaled. The second of which the National Weather Service has confirmed that that was an EF1 tornado that touched down in the area of Brandon Road. The National Weather Service also confirmed that the tornado was about 6.55 miles long, 90 miles per hour, and went from Eagles Landing to Kellytown. The Emergency Operations Center was activated at the height of the storm and had approximately 1,600 residents without power. Our DOT and Public Works crews assisted with debris removal and operations to keep our first responders on priority calls, and I certainly want to thank our DOT and our team for getting out in the storm to make sure that we got that debris removed. The EOC did respond to numerous reports of downed trees, and especially along Highway 155 North. For those that know where Brandon Road is, I will ask that, I think it's in Commissioner District 4 with Commissioner Price. It did suffer and shows a significant number of trees that are down and traffic obstructions, but there were no reported injuries or fatalities, which we're so thankful for. There were several houses with trees on them, but again, we're thankful to our utility providers, specifically Georgia Power, for coordinating with our teams to ensure timely restoration of services. So I just wanted you all to be aware of that because I'm sure a number of you all probably received phone calls, and we want to, again, employ our residents to make sure that you are signing up for our emergency operation application Activate. Is that correct? No. Activation. I always say activate. Activation. So if you have not signed up, please go on our county website for that information. Before I bring Ashley up to provide a legislative update, I do want to take this time to thank our Henry County Parks and Recreation staff, Ivy Adams in our finance department, and Kayla Correa in the county manager's office for an exceptional Women's History Month. From the popcorn on yesterday, to the coffee, to the women's empowerment, we were beyond empowered. Chair Harrell has already signed an order that we will celebrate Women's Empowerment Month for the remainder of the year. And so it's not going to end, it didn't end yesterday, but kudos to our team for a job well done. So yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. So as we close out Women's Month, I will continue to challenge our women leaders, our leaders that are leading us as Chair Harrell and Vice Chair Robinson, to continue to do great things. And I am again very, very pleased with what this month looked like. So thank you to an amazing team for making that happen. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Ashley LaRue, who will provide a legislative update.
Did our
Come on.
emergency?
Yeah, so I apologize. I should always, come on up, Ryan. Ryan is our Emergency Management and Homeland Security Director. And when I say this year has been a year, it has been a year. We stole him from another county that we won't name, but it was a good steal for us. And I don't know if he's bringing all this bad weather, but I'll turn it over to him and allow him to speak. So thank you.
Great morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners, and pillars of Henry County. Thank you for letting me come up here. I do want to make a correction. It is Regroup is our mass notification software.
I'm sorry.
And it was going off wild yesterday. So this county has done a tremendous job. I did want to publicly say I thank all of you for your support, but also our teams out there on the road who did an incredible job. We are working on having pictures, and we'll send to everyone so you can kind of see the damages. We're going to fly the drone, and we're working on some aerial shots now. It was just a really insane sight to see. So it really does, all the labor that we provided there yesterday was pretty significant. So we just want to thank everyone again. So thank you all.
And Ryan, while we have the board, explain why it's important for us to get pictures and the documentation that we have to do.
Yes, short version.
Short version.
So so pictures allow us, we share everything with the National Weather Service, and it was because of those pictures that Keith Stellman from the National Weather Service was driving on his way home and went ahead and just took a look at the area to see if it actually was indeed a tornado, and that's how we got that information about 6 p.m. last night. It also helps us to really ensure that we get reimbursement back from the county, and it could be from the individual side or the public assistance side, to giving money back to the government from all the work that we do from our force account labor and equipment. And we will put, again, on our social media today, we're working on that now, to repost a QR code for the citizens to post any damages that you see. If there was trees down, it doesn't matter. If it's on the property especially, but also not just to the residents, but to the businesses as well. We really want to see the totality of the circumstances in which we dealt. And I've said it before in the winter, I'll say it again, this is probably going to be a rough year for us. And once you start this way, it's usually, it continues. So hopefully not, but we'll see. So.
Thank you, Ryan.
Can you share how we can register for the regroup event?
Yes, so we have everything we've been posting on our social media app, social media platforms. There's many of them. But you can just go to regroup.com and log in there and set up an account and ensure that you put your address in there. That's how you're able to get the actual tornado warnings and any type of warning that comes up. That's very important. A lot of people were just putting cell phone numbers in. It's not really going to do it. We try to do it targeted to where we know, wherever that warning is, we want to make sure that those people understand where it's at. But also, just scanning the QR code and kind of running through that process as well is another thing. And to come in the future, we're going to just tell people, reiterate the preparedness methods, from an individual perspective to your families, to your businesses, to your community. It's just like having an infant. You don't leave that house without that diaper bag on. You never know what's going to happen. Same thing here. So I like that analogy because for all of you who've had small children, you know that it's very important. But same thing with a disaster. You may a lot of times we forget and we neglect some of the simple things, and sometimes people don't know. So we're going to, go hard and make sure that we understand that our citizens are safe and they're prepared the best way we can. So, absolutely.
And just as a reminder, Regroup replaced Code Red. So that is no longer applicable to Henry County. Ryan and his team were able to review proposals from Regroup, and it cost the county $0. Good work.
So do we know how many tornadoes touched down like throughout Georgia from this storm? Like were there other counties affected by this?
We'll get that information. I know that Keith Stellman, Dave Nadler, and Brett, I always forget his last name, from the National Weather Service, they're running all their damage reports today. We were just fortunate enough that he was heading home, but I can get that information to you all as well. So,
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, pillars of the community. I'm going to very quickly give a legislative update. As you guys know, this is the last week of session for the Georgia General Assembly. So we have a couple local bills I know that we've talked about before that I wanted to touch on. So House Bill 521, which is that de-annexation bill that we talked about, that is working its way. We're trying to get it on the Senate Rules Committee so that we can get that to the floor. Senator Dixon is sponsoring that for us, and overall we've had pretty good widespread acceptance of the language on it, so we just have to get that on the Senate Rules calendar. Another piece of local legislation, Senate Bill 359, is cleanup language that talks about the Board of Ethics, updates how we do the appointments, and clarifies language relating to the county attorney. We're working with the author and the Legislative Council on that to make a few edits because it's not quite what we were needing, but we are going to work through that. Some other bills that we had talked about, I know that we passed some resolutions for the Water Authority and the Airport Authority. Our delegation has decided to hold on those for this year, but we're going to continue to work with them on the language for that. The county attorney and I are also working with Commissioner Wilson and the fire department with the Legislative Council for the Senate side on the fire services piece. So we're really trying to work through and make sure that we address all the areas with that. It's a very complicated topic, so we'll probably have that next session. But we have a lot of support behind that one as well, so we're excited about that development. Another piece of just general legislation that I wanted to make sure that we talked about. So the first couple ones are going to be ones that have passed both houses and are waiting to go to the governor's desk for review, for veto, or for signature. So House Bill 58 has to do with aviation, and it restricts the flight of unmanned aircraft over mass public gatherings. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice right now. For Atlanta Motor Speedway, that's really important for us. We work with our state and federal partners anytime we have big events to make sure that we're monitoring drone activity over our large events anyway, so this just gives us an extra layer of legal protection and authority to be able to enforce that no-fly zone. House Bill 85, which has to do with Superior Court compensation, that passed both houses. House Bill 92, which was the House Bill 581 from last year, cleanup bill, has passed both houses. That one essentially is changing the timeline for opting in or opting out, and also allows a 90-day extension for audits with constitutional officers if they're not participating in good faith. So they've kind of meshed a couple different bills with that one. House Bill 137, which raises the public works bidding threshold from $100,000 to $250,000. That has passed both houses. House Bill 551, very long, complicated bill that has to do with Department of Revenue and title ad valorem tax. House Bill 164 has to do with the truck weights. That was one that we were trying to keep an eye on. Essentially, the version that was passed removed the sunset date, but the Metro Atlanta counties are still exempt based on our reading of it, so it shouldn't impact truck weights in Metro Atlanta. It's outside of Metro that it's really a larger concern. House Bill 268 had to do with school safety. I know that that's not something that we always directly deal with, but with the school resource officers being part of PD, it's something that we were keeping an eye on. And with the emergency management team that has to contribute to the school safety plans, wanted to make sure that we continue to work through that process. House Bill 423, which was Next Gen 911, that also passed for both the authorizing legislation and for the funding. So we're excited about that development. A couple others that I wanted to make sure that we touched on that they have passed, but they passed one house but haven't passed the other. So House Bill 244 allows counties a 90-day extension for audits if a constitutional officer doesn't participate in good faith. That came out of Senate committee but hasn't made it to Senate rules yet. House Bill 397, which is an election bill and has to do with ballot drop box surveillance and absentee voter registration. That has also passed out of the committee but hasn't made it to Senate rules. And then finally, House Bill 531 waives governmental immunities for immigration enforcement. That has made it out of the Senate committee but hasn't been placed on the rules calendar yet. I know that that's one that ACCG is watching very closely. One other one that I wanted to make sure that we touched on, because I know it's something that has been brought up that didn't make it through crossover, but we're making sure that the language doesn't get added to anything else, was House Bill 646, which had to do with the coroner's pay, wanting to make sure that that doesn't impact the structure that we currently have. And I will attempt to answer any questions if you guys have any.
Could you repeat the last one about the coroner?
It has House Bill 646. It didn't make it through crossover, but it has to do with the coroner's pay. And essentially, it was setting a minimum for everybody, which works in some counties' favors, but for others, it impacts our budget significantly.
Thank you.
And then it also had the deputy coroner salary.
Yeah, it's got trickle-down impacts as well.
Yeah, so that was it. No.
It hasn't, but we're making sure, because that's been a hot topic of conversation, so we're trying to make sure that we monitor that it doesn't get added to other bills as that we see this time of year.
Okay, thank you so much for the update. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for January 29th, 2025, BOC, and then February 25th?
So, second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Okay, we got upcoming meetings and events. April 15th at 6:30 is a regular scheduled BOC meeting. There will be an additional budget workshop on April 15th at 4 p.m. May 6th, 2025 is our 9 a.m. our regular scheduled BOC meeting. And I need to get a motion to convene to executive session for litigation. I don't know. Second, all in favor? Okay. We'll move into executive session. from executive session.
Second.
All in favor? I need a motion to approve the affidavit and resolution pertaining to executive session.
Motion to approve affidavit. Second.
All in favor? Okay, we're moving to the financial services budget workshop now, correct? Did I need to do anything else, Stephanie? Okay, all right.
Okay. Good morning, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, and Pillars of Henry County Community. Today, we will review our FY26 proposed general fund and special service district expense budget. Due to property valuations just wrapping up yesterday, the projected revenue numbers are not yet available. During our next budget workshop on April 15th, we will review the combined revenue and expense proposed budget. As such, our expense recommendations could change. Before I begin my presentation, I ask that the board allow me to go through the entire presentation and hold all questions until the end. I will begin by reminding the board of our general budget philosophy. This philosophy has been incorporated into each annual budget. The tenets of that philosophy are to maintain the current millage rate of 15.733 mills, offer fair and competitive salaries and benefits for our employees, advance board priorities and strategic partnerships, and fund department essentials to maintain current service levels for Henry County residents. Our charge is to create a balanced budget, utilizing available revenues to fund projected expenditures and to not build our budget based on utilizing fund balance to fund recurring operations. For the FY26 budget, departments were asked to submit their departmental budget requests, but maintain current spending levels where possible. Due to state mandates and continued implementation of important county priorities, we knew that this would be impossible for some departments. As such, we have addressed those needs within this proposed budget. What you have before you is an executive summary of where we currently stand with the FY26 expense budget. After careful review of department budget request submittals and subsequent alignment with the FY26 county priorities and objectives, county leadership is recommending the proposed FY26 general fund and special service district expense budget be $287.9 million, which is $28.2 million or 10.9% higher than the FY25 adopted budget of $259.7 million. This proposed budget allows the county to maintain current service levels while also providing support to three significant additions for FY26. The North Mount Carmel Rec Center, providing support for the newly established Henry County Police Academy, and preparing for the opening of 2 new fire stations in FY26 and 27. Some of the major items included in the proposed budget are $1.7 million for critical need personnel, $1.4 million for personnel and expenses related to the 5th State Court Judge coming on board in January 2026, $3.5 million for debt payments, $4.2 million for longevity and COLA increases for employees, $3.2 million insurance and pension funding increases, $1.5 million funding for DOT, $3.3 million for inmate medical and additional jail personnel, $2 million for additional fire personnel for stations 17 and 18, and $1.4 million increase for the addition of a 5th State Court Judge and its associated personnel. Shown on this slide is a graphical representation of general fund budget increases. From 2021 to the proposed FY26 budget, you can see that we have implemented steady increases in the general fund budget. Over the 6-year history presented, the year-over-year budget increase has been on average about 10.3% to align with county growth and subsequent expense increases. From 2010 to 2022, Henry County population has increased 12 out of the 12 years. In the 2023 to 2024 period, Henry County saw a 1.4% population increase with a numeric increase of 4,750 new residents. The Atlanta Regional Commission, or ARC, estimates that the Atlanta region, including Henry County, will grow to 7.9 million residents by 2050. It is estimated that Henry County specifically will be home to 346,000 residents by 2050, which is a 44% increase from the 2020 census. Listed on the slide above are the identified priorities by each district commissioner. As you can see, the common theme amongst most commissioners are road improvements, parks and recreation, and public safety. The recommended increases for FY26 are aligned to support these priorities. The FY26 proposed budget currently includes a recommendation for 79 new positions, 12 of which specifically relate to support staff for the 5th State Court Judge coming online in January 2026. This slide details the departments and positions currently included in this budget recommendation. Here you have a comparison of the original request we received on the left compared to the items being recommended for inclusion and approval in the FY26 budget on the right. This budget assumes that we maintain the current millage rate of 15.733 mills. Departmental requests for personnel and operating expenses total $36.8 million compared to $9.8 million being recommended for approval. Our recommendation is $27 million lower than the request, primarily due to uncertain financial impacts of U.S. tariff implementation, potential litigation related to impact fees, economic uncertainty, and loss of grant funding due to audit delays. During FY25, the county has lost $337,000 in grant funding. During the same period, we will receive $390,000 of reimbursements related to FY24 grant expenses. Based on the projected completion of our outstanding FY24 audit, we are expecting to be back on track with our grant funding beginning in FY26. As additional support for the summary just shown, this is a division summary that indicates where each department rolls up. In conclusion, I want to remind the board of how we got here. We started with our adopted FY25 general fund and special service district budget of $259.7 million. As you may recall, after tax collections in the November-December timeframe, it was determined that we would have additional revenue collections of approximately $17.7 million, primarily due to the 3 mil increase specifically for fire, police, and parks and rec. The board did not take formal action on the $17.7 million, meaning we did not formally add these dollars to the budget. However, due to prior board commitments, the funds were allocated as such. $7.5 million was used for capital purchases for fire. $5.9 million was set aside in fund balance as a contingency due to the economic uncertainty. $2.9 million was designated for debt service payments on the central energy plant, and $1.4 million was to cover operational expenses. So of the $17.7 million, only $4.3 would have increased the operating budget, which would have taken the budget from $259.7 million to $264 million. For FY26, the current recommendation is to add $23.9 million in additional expenses. Again, this recommended amount could change once the revenue projections become final. That then leads to a recommended budget of $287.9 million, which goes along with all the previously provided materials. The next steps in the FY26 budget cycle are the following. We will hold our second budget workshop with the board on April 15th at 4 p.m. We will have the first public hearing on May 6th at 9 a.m. and the second public hearing and adoption of the FY26 budget on May 28th at 6:30, where the Board of Commissioners will be asked to vote on this budget. This concludes my presentation. I'm prepared to take any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the board, Commissioner Wilson?
About the pension funding and insurance increase, 3.2 million. So what we heard today was the dollar amount for the insurance increase. And that was how much?
$341,000 just for
And
insurance.
So the remaining of this is because of the COLAs and longevities and for the pension going increase and with the number of personnel is going to be added?
No, sir. So for the pension funding, the increase is $1.5 million. The insurance increase for the budget is $1.7 million. So what you received this morning in the presentation was the actual cost. So the actuaries compare, or the brokers, I'm sorry, they look at actual expenses. We have to look at what we budgeted. So whenever new employees come on, we're not updating the budget every time a new employee comes on. So we set the budget based on what we know at that time, but we're steadily adding new employees who are getting insurance. So that's making our budget requirements go up.
Okay, now, last year's budget, 259.7, you said we're going to have an increase of 17.7 due to the 3 mil?
That's how much additional revenue we collected from the 3 mil increase, yes, sir.
Okay, so those two added together is about 278, is correct?
Well, all of that was not operating. Most of that was being some of it was being set aside for fund balance for the economic uncertainty. And we also had capital purchases, so that wouldn't add to our operating budget.
And so you're recommending a 287?
Yes, sir. 287.9.
So you having projecting a major increase in collections again?
So, like I mentioned earlier, we feel like the 3 mil increase generated the $17 million. We feel pretty confident that we're going to be somewhere in that ballpark between $14 to $17 million again this year. And then we'll have to see what additional revenues we project to collect based upon our expected growth rate once we meet with the tax assessor. And then, like I mentioned, we might have to come back and revisit some of the recommended items if we don't foresee having enough revenue to cover the items that are currently being recommended.
That's all I have right now.
Commissioner Robinson. Commissioner Engel. Commissioner Lewis.
Very thorough presentation, thank you.
Commissioner Price.
I know we're getting started with this budget process, but from my understanding, our goal is to maintain millage where it is at 15.733.
Yes, sir.
To cover the new budget. Okay.
Yes, sir.
There's no action to be taken. This is just a workshop presentation, correct? Okay, if there, this is just discussion only. If there are no other questions, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.